Signing up. The reason this came together was direct feedback from Pulse. So this was done as a way to provide you guys a little bit more insight about career development and building your brand. So definitely take in everything George says. Be a lot of great information. And if you guys have any feedback, be sure to push that back up to the Pulse committee, okay? All right. Appreciate it. At this time, George, you can go ahead and take it away.
All right. So, for anyone who doesn't know me, I'm George Richardson. I'm currently the training manager in retail credit. So, just to give you a little bit of my background, started in funding in 2011 as a temp. I worked for an entire year as a temp before being hired in. And at this time, it was no PTO. If you call off, you might not see that person the next day. So it was really strict, but finally I got hired in. And TD was the first company that I worked for that had some type of structure and put emphasis on career development. And one of the first people that I came in contact with was Karen Crabtree. She was Karen Smith then, she's now Karen Crabtree. And she made me realize at that point in time that this doesn't necessarily have to just be a job for me. I can turn this into a career. At that point in time, I just was trying to get a check. I had a 7-month-old son. I just was trying to pay the bills. But after having a conversation or two with her, I began to think about it a little bit differently. So in 2013, I became a team leader. And the first thing that Sharon said to me when I became a team leader was, your main priority is going to be the development of your people. And that was pretty much my main focus. Some of you that were on my team can kind of attest to that. That was my main focus then, and then even after the fact, that was my main focus. Even though the roles afterwards, I wasn't necessarily in the people managing role, that was one of my main focus, even with my peers. So 2014 came. 2013, I became a team leader. I'm feeling good, coming up on the totem pole, you know? And 2014 came and boom, the layoff happened. And it was one of the toughest times in my life. Not the toughest, but it was definitely one of the toughest times. So funding with the Farmington Hills, I landed in Volkswagen Credit. Volkswagen Credit, culture was completely different. Didn't really like it there. I didn't really see a future there. So I ended up at Thomson Reuters, which is a tax and accounting software firm. So at Thomson Reuters, again, culture was a little different. It wasn't too bad as Volkswagen Credit. But again, I really didn't see a future there. So what I did was I enrolled in school to finish up my degree. And so I enrolled in school, but at the same time, still needed some chicken, some money, some bread. So I ended up working 2 jobs. So I started working at Home Depot, worked at Thomson Reuters, and I was going to school all at one time. So that's 2014 and 2015. At the end of 2015, I got a phone call, it's TD. They said, we bringing funding back. Would you like to come back? Me personally, it was like the ex-girlfriend calling me. Hey, baby, I want to get back with you. Oh, I was waiting, baby. Yeah, I'm on my way. You know? So when I came back in 2016 as a team leader, I was excited. I had a different mindset, though. Just because I had went outside the company and I saw how it was, and I was already comfortable with the culture, but it just made me appreciate it a little bit more. And so I had a different mindset. So when I came back, I connected with Mike Brooks. I knew Mike Brooks as a funder, but we really connected when I came back. And Mike Brooks, it started off as a mentor-mentee kind of unofficial kind of relationship, and then it eventually grew into a friendship, and where we would talk about things professionally and personally. And having people like Mike Brooks in your corner, like, I really got to pay a lot of tribute to him for helping me out along that way. And then Danielle Henry, she was my funding manager. I didn't work a whole lot with Danielle prior to the layoff, so I didn't really know what to expect. But Danielle definitely helped me refine some of my skills, especially my problem solving skills. Because every time I go to Danielle with the issue or problem and I'm trying to just give me the answer, she always hit me with the same line every time. So George, what do you think? And I'm like, come on, I just want the answer, you know? Just give me the answer. But literally that time I was in funding, that question, what do you think? It got to the point is she didn't even have to ask me that. I'll come with the issue, I'll come with my solution, and then we'll talk it out. And that kind of helped me along the way in regards to problem solving and communication as well. So November, where we at? That was 2016. So November 2016, I go over to retail credit. And before I go to retail credit, me and Sharon had a real heart-to-heart conversation about making this move. And I won't go into details, but she just let me know, hey, it's not gonna be the same. And I appreciate it because everything she said, it was actually true. But I already had the mindset because I already had a goal when I came back through that door in 2016. So when I came back, when I went to retail credit, the first thing that was heavy on my mind was to be humble in training because people knew me as a team leader in funding, so I didn't want to walk around my training like I knew everything, I'm a hot shot. So I remained humble. A lot of things I knew, I didn't really say, make it known that I knew. I just sat back, observed, and that was that. But once I hit the floor, the first thing that hit my mind was, it's 150 analysts. How the heck am I gonna stand out of 150 analysts? Only 16 of them came in with me. The rest of them already got time on me, experience on me. How am I gonna stand out? And that was one of the main things that was on my mind. Because me personally, I knew that it's so easy to get caught up in your day-to-day, and I wanted to make sure I didn't get caught up in that day-to-day. So 2016, November, I went to retail credit. Fast forward June 2017, I became a senior analyst. Now, when I first got to retail credit, one of the things I had to do was, I don't want to be average that long. I mean, realistically, at some point, I'm gonna be below average, I'm gonna be average, but I didn't want to do it that long. So a lot of things that I did was, I looked at the analysts around me that I felt were successful, and I just picked up their best practices. Another thing, I had a coach. I had several coaches down there, but one in particular, Paula Hicks. Me and Paula used to have these one-on-one meetings, and it wasn't the regular, you know, let's go over your numbers, okay, that's what you did. No, me and Paula got into some deep conversations, and she held me accountable for everything that I told her. And even if I get to slipping, she'll let me know, hey, Mr. Richardson, what are you doing? What's your actions? And if I didn't have it, I knew I had to have it because she wouldn't let me just put it by. So that was one of the key things that helped me become a senior analyst in less than 6 months in retail credit. And that was something that never really been heard of up until that point. All right? So once I became a senior analyst, I had some opportunities. I got with Gen X, Ashley Pelch and Rosie. They gave me the opportunity to do the effective meetings workshop. And honestly, I was scared to do it. Not scared, but nervous in regards to doing public speaking. And the audience were senior managers, lending managers. I had people in product. I had inside sales. So I didn't know the audience was going to be like that. So if I had known that prior to, I probably wouldn't have signed up for it. But I did the effective meetings workshop. It went over really well. So a couple things happened after that. A lot of people got to see who I was, not just George, who do these applications. He's a funny guy sometimes, and he says hi. People really saw me as a hard worker, and it kind of put me in the spotlight. And I took that opportunity to get into the new hire training. At this point in time, it was just a credit coach and a senior analyst in the new hire training. And what I did was I made sure that I added value to that training and that I was going to make an impact. And in the middle of me doing the new hire training, this was my second class I was doing the new hire training. My position came up as a training manager, and I applied for it, and I really didn't know if I had a shot, because I'm talking about the best of the best was going for this position. All of the senior analysts that been here years, on top of years, I mean, the knowledge, they had the knowledge in regards to credit, they had it. And I really didn't know, but I put in for it, and I got the position December 2017. So here we are now. So how did I create that path? Based on what I said so far, what have you noticed? Yeah. So a lot of what, in regards to success, you could do it by yourself. You 1000% could do it by yourself. Fact of the matter is, if you do it by yourself, it's probably going to take you a long time. And if you don't have that mindset of, and I get it, some of us are introverts, I understand that. But if you don't have the mindset that I need to build a rapport with people, then you're going to be a step behind every time. And it's not necessarily talking to the person to get you the next position. It's just talking about their experience. Experience is a lot. And if somebody could tell you about something that you may go through before you get to it, that's a lot of value right there. And that's what I built throughout. It wasn't just managers, it was with my peers, it was people in other departments, and it wasn't anything that I directly set out like, hey, I'm gonna talk to this person to get this much information and then I'm out. It really started with me and Mike Brooks literally started just saying hi and passing. And that hi ended up turning to how was your weekend? And then it grew and it grew and it grew. And that's all it is. Another thing, how I created my path was those opportunities outside of your job. A lot of us like to go into the diversity committees and everything, and that's great. But if you're going into these meetings and just sitting there, not adding any value, you just getting time off of the desk. And that's fine, because I've been there. I get it. But if you can't take on the project and refine your skills or learn new skills, get out in front of it, then you're doing yourself a disservice. You're doing yourself a big disservice. All right? Another thing that I focused on was talking to everyone around me. How approachable am I coming off? I used to literally, when I first got in retail credit, this was kind of like a mind game I was playing with myself. Once I got my confidence, I'm like, these people don't even know I'm gonna be their credit coach in a minute. So what I used to do, I used to take different routes to my desk just to say hi. I may not know you, I look at the name tag. Oh, hey, how you doing, Chris? Everything good? That's all I'm saying. I'm not going into no in-depth conversation, but what I was thinking was, once I become your credit coach, we already got a rapport. So that make my transition a whole lot easier. And I used to just talk to everybody. And it was genuine. I'm not doing anything dishonest. I'm just building a rapport. And that's what you gotta do, even with your peers. I know some people like to be closed off, and I get it. I'm here to do my job. If you wanna collect, just collect the check, that's perfectly fine. But I feel like everybody that came to here today want a little bit more. And you're gonna have to get cool with people. You're gonna have to talk to people. I'm not saying they gotta be your best friend, but you definitely need to be able to build a rapport. Most definitely. Another thing I did, so in order to refine my skills, when I came back from 2016, I knew I had to up my game. I knew I had to refine my skills. Leadership was probably the most important skill that I felt, and there's a lot of other skills that fall up under leadership, right? So, as a funder, what opportunities do you have to refine your skills? It's very limited. And we all got the same opportunities. So, you gotta invest in yourself outside of work sometimes. And if you can't wrap your mind around that, if you think that TD is gonna do everything for you, you're gonna come up short every time. And what happened in my situation was, one day a friend of mine sent me a motivational video. And he said, man, check this out, it's dope. And so I listened to the video, it was dope. And I listened to that video every day for the next 3 months. Before I went to bed and when I woke up. And during this time, this is the same time that I worked 2 jobs and was going to school. And then I started to research the people that was talking in this video. And I got a little bit deeper and I got a little bit deeper. And then I started reading books. Not the love novels or the hood novels or nothing like that. I'm talking about real books here. You know, no discredit to anybody that's an author. But I started reading books. And I started investing in myself more than I was investing into other things. I get it. Social media is a big thing. As much time as you spend in social media, if you just take a fraction of that time and put it into yourself, it'll work a world of wonders in a 1-year time. I promise you. I promise you. And I get it. I understand. I'm there. But you definitely have to invest in yourself. And that's a major part of it. And it's going to happen outside of work. It's definitely got to happen outside of work. Your habits that you have creates your future. So your present right now was created by habits you had in the past. Now, whether you are where you want to be or not, that's a personal question you got to answer. But your habits definitely put you right here where you are today. And if you got some bad habits, you need to change that. That's all on you. Because the habits you have today is going to set you where you are a year from now, 2 years from now. So we always talking about brand here. What does brand mean to you all? We talk about this constantly here. Somebody tell me, what does brand mean?
Your identity.
What's that?
Your identity.
Your identity. I agree with that. So brand starts before you walk through the doors of TD. If you think brand is just something here at TD, you got the game messed up. Brand is your attitude. It's you. If you got a brand here, I bet you the people you hang out with, you got a bad brand with them too. So it's crazy that some people just don't catch that concept of brand. It's a small but impactful thing. And some people realize it, some people don't. Some people don't even care. But if you don't care, you can't be mad when you can't get nowhere. I know appearance, I know that's a touchy subject in funding, because I remember when I was in funding, it was a touchy subject. But your appearance, that's important. What message are you sending? Us as human beings, we all human beings. If I see somebody dressed a certain way, me as a human being, without knowing them, naturally going to create a perception. It's just natural. Not saying it's right or wrong, but it's just natural as a human being. Your body language. We all know about the resting face, right? Yeah, whether it's conscious or unconscious, right? What message are you giving off? But brand is in everything, but it's just, if your appearance is creating an extra hurdle for you without me even knowing what kind of work you do, you're just creating it a more uphill battle. Mm-hmm. How do you come off to your peers? How are you perceived as your peers? By your peers, I'm sorry. Are you approachable? Do you come with solutions, or are you that individual always talking about the problems? Because everybody could talk about the problems, but what's the solution? Are you proactive, or do we always got to tell you what to do? Things like that. And everything I'm saying is not even rocket science. It's just a matter of attitude and if you're willing to do it. So, what motivated me to get where I am, and I'm not going to pretend like I knew back in 2016 that in about a 2-year time frame that I was going to be a training manager. It's not like that. It wasn't like that. I just knew when I came through the doors of 2016 that I was going to get it. Whatever it was, George was going to get it. Because when I got knocked on my butt in 2014, it's a terrible feeling. My mom is a big motivation. She worked her tail off. I seen her bust her tail all my life. My dream one day is to make sure she don't gotta do that. My kids. Everybody, well not everybody, but most of you know about Georgie. He still go ham. But I want him to look back on me and look at the history of our whole family and see, like, dang, my dad got it. He did that. He changed that story. I care about that. I don't know if he cares. If you ask him today, he probably not gonna care. Hopefully, he cares at some point. And then I have a daughter. A lot of you don't know about her. Hunter Noel. Doctor says she won't make it past 6 months. Hunter has special needs. But just last month, January 10th, same day as my mother's birthday, Hunter celebrated her 14th birthday.
Oh, wow.
So, motivation, it's not hard for me. I remember where I came from. We moved from Chicago to Detroit when I was 4 years old. All my mama had was $10 in a garbage bag. Am I lying, mama? So, and this is not to feel sorry for me or anything, because everybody in here had a challenge, and you was able to make it here today. You got over that challenge. And it's going to be challenges that come along the line, but you just got to get over it. The only people that's going to stop you is yourself. A lot of you got some brilliant talents, some beautiful ideas, and the only thing that's stopping is yourself. Fear. You talk yourself out of it every time. So I get this career development, but it's a little bit more than that. It's really about you and within, and you being honest with yourself. You don't need other people to be honest. You be honest with yourself. You know what you need to work on. You know what idea you have. Just do it. What you scared of? Success? Because that's what's on the other side of fear. I get it. It's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day. So, what you going to do now? So I told you my story, right? And let's just take it from the 2016 aspect, when I came back. By 2018, I was a training manager. Think about where you were in 2016. And think about where you are now. Whether you were in a better position then or not, just think about that. And think about everything you did to get where you are today. Now, if you fought like hell to get over your challenges, you're going to feel good about yourself right now. If you jacked off your time, you're probably feeling really shitty right now. But that's on you. You can get all the tools you want. We could have 5 more of these. We could bring everybody in here. Your team leaders could talk to you all day about all of this. None of that matters. That's on you. So what's your mindset? Just one more thing. You only got one life. I promise you, you do. So what's the point of procrastinating? Why not live it up now? Why not go for that goal now? Why? You only got one. You can only do this one time. If you fail, so what? In life, you're not gonna hit a home run every time. That's for sure. Because none of us would be here right now. We'd be on our yacht somewhere, right? You go strike out a bunch of times. You go get some singles. You go get some doubles. But no matter what, you get back up, you swing that bat. Love yourself. Love yourself. Love yourself. All right? I'm sorry if I got off the railroad a little bit. Sharon probably texting me right now.
She's not in the room. You're safe for now.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, just don't send her the tape then. Any questions? Comments? Said the kid.
Yeah, so, now that you're in the training manager position, are you looking to further your career in that role?
Yes, I'm definitely.
The question was, now that he's in the training role, where is he looking to advance himself from there?
So, they did a panel discussion a few months ago, and it was 4 senior managers. Can't remember all their names, but I remember Amber, Mike Brooks, Karen Crabtree, Amber Hazley, that is. I can't remember Jennifer, I think Jennifer.
Jennifer Joyce.
There we go, Jennifer Joyce, thank you, Chef. And so they all sat up here and they pretty much said what they did along the way. And basically all of them up here had about 20, no less than 20 years experience. And it just put things in perspective, because I remember being in funding before the layoff and being there for a couple years and was like, man, something need to shake. But here we have people with 20 years of experience, and they're just now becoming senior managers. And all of them, all their stories were different, but one thing was constant. All of them had to wear different hats. They had to do different roles. And most of those roles were lateral moves. It wasn't always a step up. And sometimes they had to go left, they had to go right. Some of the roles they really didn't want, but they did it. So yeah, to answer your question, yes. Definitely looking to keep going. I got a couple things in my sights. I'm gonna keep it close to the vest though. You know? But yeah, definitely. Any other questions?
Any advice on how people can make themselves more visible or within the department or within the company?
Mm-hmm. So, a couple things about being more visible. So, you got to think everybody want to be visible, right? So those opportunities is not going to be abundant, right? So you definitely got to get with the right people that's going to give you that opportunity. That's probably going to be the number one thing. But before you do that, your day-to-day job needs to be already intact. You can't be trying to be visible and you can't even hit your numbers. That's just not gonna make sense. But definitely you wanna get with the right people. You wanna build that rapport. Who that right person is, I don't know. The people I met along my way, I did not know that they would have the impact that they had on me. Some of them had really great impact, and it's a lot of people I didn't mention. And they might not have no impact at all, but you don't know. Did I answer that? Oh, you know, George be blowing sometimes. All right. Any other questions? We can kick it, seriously.
I just want to make a quick comment. You talked about you might have gone off or whatnot from a certain path, but everything you said kind of tied into what's made you what you are today. And I just wanted to thank you because a lot of these things, I've done networking in the past from other occupations, and the information that you were able to give us today, I have culled from different places, and you've added so much, and I really appreciate all that you've gone through today, because it's really inspirational that we can keep moving up if we just follow some basic steps that you've gone through.
Thank you.
Michael's point was he really appreciated everything that he said because he's gotten this message before. That's why it really hit home with what George was saying. Yeah, so now that we're on the Q&A portion, try and project your voice this way to the phone.
Do we have any questions in Jacksonville?
No, not right now. No question.
But to your point, so I get it. I really don't care as long as one person was impacted, but if you feeling good right now and you're like, oh, I'm about to go get it, that's great. But I'm gonna tell you, your discipline is gonna be greater than your motivation. Motivation is cool, it's good, but your discipline is what's gonna get you. Because discipline is going to help you when you don't feel like it. When you're not motivated, you're not motivated. But discipline will get you through that. So you got to create different habits that's going to get you to where you want to go, wherever that may be.
All right, question. You say that you made like lateral moves, moving the left and right. Can you give us a few examples of things that you did that you would consider as that left or right move?
Well, so at the time, when I was a team leader going to credit, that was a lateral move. The difference was that I wasn't a people manager anymore. And I got questions about that, making that move. But I had a different vision in mind. And so I had some really good conversations with Sharon, as well as Danielle about it. And once I laid out my plan, it was all good. Cool.
Hey, George, I have a question.
Okay.
It's from Mimi. Hi, George.
Hey.
So, how does your everyday conversations that you hold impact your career at CD?
Did everyone hear that? Okay. So my everyday conversation, every day the conversation is not going to be about career movement. And what it is just you get little bits and pieces here and there. It's not like, oh, this today, I'm going to have that one. Sometimes this just happen out of the blue. We at the coffee, and we at the coffee maker, and 20 minutes go by and we're in a deep conversation. And what it is, it's going to be different for everybody. But you got to take that information you get and apply it to yourself. Because it's not going to be like, oh, that's how you did it? Well, that's exactly how I'm going to do it. You got to alter it, and you got to be able to process it, So those conversations, you get that information. For me, a trigger go off in my head, and then I will process it later on in the day when I got my self-time and apply it accordingly. And then if I need to follow up with them, I'll definitely do that. Did I answer that question?
Yes.
Oh, cool. I'm on the road. Let's go. Let's keep it going. I'm hot. No, literally, I'm hot. Some wore my lungs on.
George, one thing you can see from your presentation and all the things that you've said is that you have passion for what you are going towards. And I think a little bit back to what Tori was saying, sometimes you could, you want to do things, but you have to have that passion.
Mm-hmm.
You have to want to do it, and that drive will make you can't just make a statement, I want to be a trainer,
Right.
and you're doing nothing towards,
Mm-hmm.
getting to be a trainer. You can write a statement or say, you want to do something. I think of an example, and I can use myself. I was interested in becoming the coordinator for Meals on Wheels.
Mm-hmm.
And part of what I wrote to do that was that how I felt, my passion
Mm-hmm.
for community service.
Mhm.
And that's what takes you there, that passion. And you can't just say you want to do something, but you're not passionate about it.
Right. So yeah, being passionate and actually wanting to do something is really important. And so I said something along the lines of a lot of you got good ideas, a lot of you got good talents, and you're just not really focusing on them. And then there's probably some people in here right now like, well, I really don't have a passion or I really don't have a talent. And the fact of the matter is you're probably worried about everything else around you instead of looking at yourself and worrying about yourself. Because it's hard to know what that passion is if you just worried about everything else. You gotta really take a look inside this. I'm talking about literally sit in silence. Start off with 5 minutes a day. Then go to 10 minutes a day. Start meditating. If you don't like meditating, well, just sit in silence, whatever. You will figure it out. But you definitely need to focus on yourself. And we always talk about being a better bank, like that's our vision. Well, like, just be a better you.
Right.
Just be a better you.
George, part of the steps that I know Danielle often talks about, or team leaders as well, taking those LMS classes and things that, prepare you for the opportunities that
Mhm.
might come up. So if you want to go into training, there may be some videos or some things out there that you could be watching or learning. So when the opportunity knocks, preparation means opportunity.
Yeah.
So,
That's a real good point, Rosalind. I always tell like the new hire class or the retail credit senior analysts when they come in for training, if you want a position and you just now realizing you want the position when the posting go up, you're probably too late already.
Mm-hmm.
You already too late. If you scrambling, oh man, I gotta get my resume updated. Oh, hey, can you help look at my cover letter? You already too late. You should already be prepared for when that poster goes up. You say, oh, okay, here it goes. Woo. Your people manager should already know, or know that you are looking for some kind of position. Should already have those conversations.